Hey, thanks for checking out these videos. Of course, we're going over the difference or the conflicts or the perspectives of a Muslim life and a Christ follower's life. And today we're basically going to talk about Muslim customs or the customs that are practiced by those who are following the faith of Islam. And so I'm going to do my best to pronounce some of the terms here. I'm taking heavily from some writings by a gentleman by the name of Ray Comfort, from a book he's written called World Religions in a Nutshell. It just covers the basics. Of course, I'll make plenty of commentary about it as we go along here. So basically, all Muslims have 5 important duties that they are obligated to fulfill. And these duties, which they call the 5 pillars, are referred to, of course, by their Arabic names. We talked about in some previous videos that Muslims believe that Arabic is the language of God. And often they will use Arabic words and Arabic writings and read an Arabic version of their scriptures, even if they have zero understanding of the Arabic language, because they believe in a religious sense, just like many Christians and other faith following people believe in a religious sense, that doing something in a certain way earns favor or brings us closer to or helps us to please the God of the universe and more. And so the first custom we're going to talk about is the Shahada, S-H-A-H-A-D-A. Google that for some more information. The Muslims believe that they must confess the faith by reciting, "There is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is his messenger." Again, a very, very focused attention to Muhammad as being the prophet of God, although we've talked about the fact that the Muslim faith states very clearly that there are other prophets of God, everyone from Moses to Noah to Jesus himself. And so check out some of the earlier videos for that. The second one of these details that we're going to cover essentially is called the Salat, S-A-L-A-T. And this custom, Salat, is to pray 5 times a day at specific times while facing the city of Mecca, which is, of course, the birthplace of Muhammad. Wherever they live, all Muslims must face Mecca during their times of prayer and perform a ceremonial washing beforehand. The 5 daily prayers are actually recited in Arabic. And so even here in the Northeast where I'm from, sometimes you'll be driving down the highway or you'll walk into a business or whatever, and you'll see somebody who's following the Islamic faith or is a Muslim just literally pulled over to the side of the road or on the side of their shop or whatever, saying their prayers facing the direction where they believe that Mecca is. And so it is a very, very serious custom for them. Of course, they're highly dedicated to it. And yeah, so that's the second one of their customs. The third, the Zakat, Z-A-K-A-T, Zakat, I'm sorry, give money to help the poor. And so the Muslim adults who follow this custom are required to give 2.5% of their wealth to charity every year. Now, some Muslim youths do this as volunteer work, as a form of helping the needy or something along those lines. Of course, in the Christian faith, Christ followers believe, many of them, in something called the tithe. They're giving 10% of their income, if you will, to the place where they're fed, usually their church or some other ministry. And so similarities, again, between the two. Slightly different numbers, of course, but similarities. Just a side note that many of the teachings about God or Allah and the enemy, Satan, whoever you want to call him, note very clearly that the enemy will often mock or mimic the things of God. And so I'll leave that up to you to study, of course, Christianity and Islam to decide which one might be the truth and which one might be the mockery. I'm not going to state that at this time. Of course, I have my opinion. I want you to form your opinion. And so the fourth of these customs is called the Sawm, S-A-W-M. And this is fasting from sunrise to sunset during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Very, very common here in the Northeast. You see many people practicing this. Not going to stereotype, but we have a lot of cab drivers, a lot of folks who work at service stations who are Muslim. And many times you'll see them just literally suffering during the heat of the summer, as Ramadan sometimes sometimes falls in the summer, they will absolutely just be suffering because they can't drink, they can't eat. They're completely fasting from sunrise to sunset. And it can actually be very dangerous if they have a job, let's say in construction, where they're working outside. Imagine being a Muslim working in, let's say, Las Vegas, working outside, where you're going to have to drink a gallon of water an hour to stay alive. And you're fasting. You're fasting food and water. So anyway, during the Muslim holy month of Ramadan, they'll fast. And they remember the giving of the Quran to Muhammad through this. That's what they're focusing on. So after sunset, of course, Muslims can get together with family and friends, and they can eat a meal called Iftar, I-F-T-A-R. Muslims celebrate the end of Ramadan with a 3-day festival called Eid Al-Fitr, I guess it is, E-I-D, next word, A-L-F-I-T-R. And schools and businesses close in Muslim countries for this holiday. The celebration can be very large. It is, again, one of those traditions of their faith or of their religion that they take very seriously. And so the fifth, and possibly one of the best known, and of course shown in the image on the screen, is the Hajj, H-A-J-J. And so followers of the Islamic faith or Muslims will take a pilgrimage or a trip to Mecca at least once if possible. Mecca is a holy city for Muslims. By law, people who are not Muslim cannot even enter that city. And so on the road to Mecca, you'll actually find highway signs that direct people who are not Muslim to exit before reaching the city. And once a year, approximately 2 million followers of Islam from all over the world will come to Mecca for this Hajj, a ritual that lasts basically several days. And for many Muslims, this Hajj is the high point of their lives. They plan for this, they hope for this. You'll see somebody saying, someday I hope to go, and eventually they do get to go. And when they go, it is something that is just absolutely a mile marker in their life. Now again, it is a tremendously religious thing. It's a good deed. It's following a law. It's trying to do the right thing to please Allah and to please God. And I refer back to our previous analogy of a just judge. You do something horrible, you do something good. The judge doesn't say, hey, you did something good. I'm not going to remember that murder. I'm not going to remember that thievery that you participated in, whatever it is. He says, oh, man, that's great. I'm glad you did something good. Now, go with that guy. You're going to jail for the bad stuff you did. And you can do 100 good things. You still have to be punished by the law for the bad thing if it's a just and righteous judge. There is retribution that's a little bit different. But if God or Allah is truly a very righteous judge, the utmost of righteousness, how could he be anything less than what a good judge would be? And so I just ask you to consider that. And so these customs, these 5 pillars, form the framework for the Muslim's life and practice. It's all works-based and customs-based. Again, they can't have a very close relationship with Allah. We talked about that in one of the earlier videos. They just don't believe in that. And so faithfully adhering to these rules or these pillars is how Muslims hope to satisfy Allah and achieve, work out, earn salvation. So consider that. I hope that you will be thinking through all of these thoughts that I put out here and really just make a decision on your own. I challenge you to think. Don't be a follower of tradition. Be a follower of thought and logic. And we'll come back soon with another one. Have a great night.